Imagine awakening to find a wall dividing your country in half. Imagine that wall separating you from your family. Imagine being unable to cross the wall under penalty of death. For Germans during the late 20th century, these were painful realities. On November 9, 1989, the Berlin Wall, which had stood as a revolutionary symbol of the Soviet Union's oppressive communist regime for over 28 years, fell, setting in motion the reunification and reform of Germany after almost 44 years of being a bitter and divided nation. The fall of the Berlin Wall also foreshadowed and indirectly instigated the decline of communism in Eastern Europe. In 1918, World War I drew to a close, leaving the Allies victorious, and the Central Powers, including Germany, decidedly not. Britain and France, under the Treaty of Versailles, coerced Germany to pay $33 billion in reparations to the Allies. Many Germans were bitter. They became increasingly bitter after an economic crisis in 1929 left millions of Germans unemployed. By exploiting the grievances of the German people, Adolf Hitler seized total control of Germany, taking away individual German freedoms and prohibiting free elections. Germans would not have free elections again for almost 58 years. Hitler triggered World War II by attacking Poland, and after almost 6 years of fighting, the Soviet Union, part of the Allies, launched a final ground assault on Berlin, Germany's capital, leaving over 70% of the city in ruins. After the war, to prevent Germany from constructing another military, the Allies determined to divide Germany into 4 sectors. The Soviet Union controlled the eastern sector and instituted a communist regime there, while the US, France, and Britain apportioned Western Germany between themselves and established a democracy. Berlin was likewise divided. Almost immediately, East Germans began to flee from their sector to West Germany in hopes of finding a better life. East Germany was rapidly losing too many skilled workers and her economy faced collapse. Suddenly, on August 13, 1961, the Soviets constructed a barbed wire barrier to prevent any more people from fleeing. It soon became a formidable concrete wall. But East Germans were desperate for freedom and reacted by attempting to cross the border anyway. With each successive escape attempt, the wall's security became tougher. It soon became an extensive collection of traps, including automatic machine guns, tripwires, minefields, bunkers, and guard dogs, placed in a 300-yard stretch of no man's land between 2 12-feet concrete walls. Such a thing, constructing a wall to inhibit people from leaving a country, was revolutionary.
Freedom has many difficulties, and democracy is not perfect. But we have never had to put a wall up to keep our people in, to prevent them from leaving us.
In 1949, Hungary opened its borders with the West. Because Hungary was a communist nation, the Soviets permitted East Germans to travel there. Many East Germans had found the escape route they were looking for. From Hungary, East Germans could journey to Austria, and from there to West Germany. Thousands of East Germans embarked on the road to freedom. East Germany closed the borders to staunch the exodus, but by that time, over 40,000 East Germans had already fled. Meanwhile, demonstrations demanding democratic reform swept through Germany. As these demonstrations gained more and more strength, the Communist Party found itself rapidly losing control. Desperate, the East German government promised drastic reforms. The people continued to demonstrate. In November, 500,000 people participated in a peaceful march, the largest demonstration in Germany since 1953. The East German government made a desperate gamble, a last-ditch effort to obviate the exodus and retain control of the country. The government hoped that if the people were able to freely travel to West Germany, they would not emigrate. So, quite abruptly, Günter Schabowski, a member of the East German government, started a rush to the Berlin Wall on November 9, 1989, with his celebrated statement, "Personal travel abroad can be applied for without any extra requirements. The relevant passport and registration departments are instructed to promptly grant exit visas for permanent departure. When NBC anchorman Tom Brokaw asked Schabowski if he meant that the Berlin Wall was open, he said yes, probably because he did not speak English very well and did not fully understand the question. Whatever the case, East Germans were ecstatic. The impact of Schabowski's historic statement was immediately evident. Within minutes, a flood of East Germans rushed to the wall in whatever fashion they could. In fact, on the first day that the wall was open, 800,000 East Germans crossed. Reactions varied, from hugging and weeping to toasting champagne. The guards celebrated too. One former East German guard commented, "We were as surprised as everyone else." Most East Germans returned to their homes, now certain that the wall would remain open. The fall of the Berlin Wall not only allowed East Germans immediate travel to West Germany, but also made possible the reunification of the two Germanys into one sovereign nation. Official reunification occurred on October 3, 1990, but it would be no easy process. Germany would need to reconcile two very different systems of currency, government, and philosophy. Because of this, the German government experienced drastic reforms. One reform was the stabilization of German currency. East Germans were able to exchange their East German marks for the more valuable West German marks at a 1-to-1 ratio. This put a great strain on West Germany's economy because East German marks were so inflated that they had almost no value. Germany also experienced political reform. The first all-German elections since 1932 occurred on December 2, 1990. For the first time in 58 years, all Germans could have their say in government. On a larger scale, the fall of the Berlin Wall foreshadowed and indirectly instigated the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe. Fearing that he was losing control of Germany, Erich Honecker planned to tighten his fist on the country. But Gorbachev, leader of the Soviet Union, had different ideas.
He made this statement, which was repeated over and over again and refined, of those who come too late will be punished by history. That we took to mean it was time for Mr. Honecker to go.
Encouraged by the peaceful collapse of communism in Germany, other communist countries began to follow Germany's lead. The collapse spread from Germany to Bulgaria and Czechoslovakia and then to Romania. Most countries revolted relatively peacefully, except for Romania. The revolution spread to Romania about December 16, 1989.
And the Romanian anti-communist revolution, as I mentioned before, was the only violent one. Pretty much every other one was a peaceful transition.
Gorbachev's intervention averted a terrible bloodbath. The fall of the Berlin Wall also impacted Germany in the long term. With the exchange of East German marks to West German marks at a 1-to-1 ratio, former East German workers now earned a greater salary. This made East German products much more expensive. Many East German factories failed because they could no longer compete in the market on a global scale. Consequently, many Eastern Germans lost their jobs. Even today, Eastern Germany has a higher unemployment rate than Western Germany. In addition, the fall of communism has influenced history on a global scale. In Europe, communism is mostly extinct, and most modern communist countries exist in Asia. The fall of the Berlin Wall, a revolutionary symbol of the horrors of communism, brought about the reunification and reform of Germany, and had a long-lasting effect on her economy. On a global scale, it contributed to the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe and displayed the tenacity of the human spirit. It demonstrated just how precious freedom truly is, and therefore, as a free man, I take pride in the words,
Ich bin ein Berliner.